Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sinnis Instagram build. If you're new here, you know what to do. If you keep returning and you're not yet, then come on man, help me out please. Join the great subscription here and yeah, you get the content for free. In this episode I'm going to end up showing you how I'm going to go about it. It's going to be a bit of a trial and error, so whether it works or not, I'm not too sure. But if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. If it goes right, it's going to look on point. But basically, I just wanted to swap out a couple of bits because I was taking a look at the bike. When I put up my Instagram post, on the side view of it, just a little sneak peek, well, I highlighted something there that I thought, actually, you know what, if I do that, I'll turn it into a 2021 bike and the bike will look on point. So because it is Instagram's all about being the latest, the greatest, the most fashionable and just in general lavish as can be. So I thought, you know what, if I do this little tweak, then it should put the bike on par. If you haven't guessed by now, everything that I do on the bike has a purpose and there's a reasons as to why I'm doing it. It's not just because it looks good, it's just the reasons behind as to why it looks good. And that's the main important thing for me, because if I can express and show the reasons why, then you can slightly understand a bit more about motorcycle design. Now, if you look at the latest and greatest bikes they've got, for instance, say you look at the back end of a KTM, so we'll put it just over here, that's the back end of a KTM. Notice how it follows the subframe, like from the tail end all the way down, it will follow the subframe. But then it's not just KTM that are doing it. So if we go into a Suzuki, for instance, well, they're doing it too. And then even then, if we just then hop into a Husqvarna, well, they're kind of doing it too. And then just for the last one, and keep me walking from each side, there's Yamaha. You know, they're basically, all these bike manufacturers are doing it where they're following the sub box, and by following the subframe and making that box, it's effectively the new latest style. And we've already mimicked it with the front, with their front fender where it's a recess so it sits higher and brings everything higher. So now we need to replicate that kind of style and put it into the back. Right, so one of the issues that I got is actually that my battery was replaced, and I replaced that with a smaller amp hour one, and it's lighter. It's actually a massive weight saving. One of the best mods I actually did do, especially because I use this as enduro green laning, and as you can see I had to put a little bit of polystyrene in there just to keep it where it needs to be. But I want to put a new side panel on, and one of the things with this is it sticks out quite a fair bit. It'll be a little bit nicer to have something a little bit tighter, and also it will bring it in more to this decade. So as you can see, I just had this little bit of polystyrene in there just to stop the battery moving about, but if you can actually see the size different, that's quite a fair bit. So I think the idea now is to actually chop this part off here, but I'm still going to keep this because I'm going to use it as part of the strap to hold the battery in nice. So to give you an idea of just how much smaller the battery is, 2 bits of polystyrene and another one over here, so you can already see how much weight savings that actually gave me. The polystyrene, to be honest, super light, it doesn't corrode, it's going to do the job just holding it where it is. I'm not going to start making a whole new battery tray and all of that kind of stuff. And again, this eventually, when it's got a side panel on, you just won't even see it, and it will be held where it needs to be held. So yeah, to be honest, it's not ideal, like not super professional, but it will do the job, and it's lightweight, and yeah, as I say, it's going to be covered. So for an Instagram build, you're never even going to see it. An issue that I did have was actually that the bracket was all bent and twisted, and even the part here that held the side fairing was a bit knackered, so I ended up having to put a bolt in there just to hold it. Basically, it's near on scrap, but I'm going to work with this and make it a bit flatter just to see where I can do it, because I still need to hold that battery into place. So what I've done here now is basically made it flat. Hey, look at that. So that is ideally what I want, because I just want to make it into a strap. It's going to need a little bit of sand and paint because it's looking a bit rusty and a bit weathered, but yeah, no, I'm pleased with that so far, and hopefully we can get this to fit. Hopefully, I'm trying to use that there to use it as a strap, bend it in, redraw another hole, and then be able to place it in there. and that will then hold my battery exactly where I need it to be. The other good thing as well is that with the polystyrene here, it also lets the water drain out when needed to, and it keeps the battery up higher, so all the water is going to drain out anyway, so I'm definitely going to stick with those. As you can see here, what I've done is drill the hole, and then I've managed to cut out those little edges. Just don't really want anything sharp on the bike, to be fair, even if it's hidden, but still. I'm not going so pretty with this because, to be quite honest, I want its function, not really, you know, it's going to be hidden, so it's not a case of taking a super amount of time because you'll never see it, and it's just to hold a battery. Now, with the bit that I cut off, I've turned it into a little strip, and I cut it this way because I want it so that the water can still drain, but effectively what I'm going to do is basically it's going to have that part there like that, and it's just going to hold the battery in place, and obviously it won't rattle about and everything like that because it's still got a nice bit of rubber there to cushion it from all the abuse that I'll give the bike. Right, so as I say, not the prettiest job, probably could do with a little bit of a paint, but I need it to hold the battery, and I needed that space here because obviously it's stuck out quite a fair bit, and obviously I'm trying to squish that down a little. So yeah, overall I'm pleased. It's going to do the job, and it lets me do the bits that I need to do. So I spent some time just cutting out a new side panel shape. It's growing on me. It is growing on me, but it might be rather complicated to actually make and just to fit. Also, it's looking a little bit flat, and obviously this is just a temp, but that part will go in a bit more and it will clip down here. I think it is a hell of a lot more fitting, and it does bring the bike into a bit more 2021, but I'm still not sure because that's the original there, but I'm still not sure if it's just gonna be a lot easier to put the original on, especially I've already got the stencils for the design and the sticker set, but I don't know, it is one of those you don't know until you try, and I think it does look nice, but it's just a case of can it be done, really? Can it be done, and can it be done right? That's the question. So after all is said and done, I'm basically deciding I'm going to go back to stock. Now, the reason for that is I've been messaging a few of you, which you've been absolute stars. Honestly, thank you, you know who you are. When it comes down to the cost, the resources, and all that kind of stuff, it's just not viable to be doing it. It would basically be costing around 140 quid, give or take, just to do the back end, and that's a big budget on a bike that's not worth that much. Also, it's the skills, the filming schedule, lots of stuff in it that when you throw it all into the mix, makes it a little bit harder to really make it a viable option to do. Also, it's what Sinnis, Pulse, Lex Motor, it's what they pay in R&D. You know, they spend a lot of money to make these plastics look the way that they do, to have them built to fit the bike. It is actually incredibly complex to make these parts fit, and at the same time, I'm not a company with that amount of money, so it's just a no-go. You've got to know when to pull that cord and just say no. But I did actually like the lines that I chose on it. I definitely think it made it look more 2021, but unfortunately in this case it's just not really viable. As for my battery strap, I'm gonna keep that into place there, but I'm gonna have to order another one just to make sure that I've got that space and the mounting position to actually put the side panel back on. And yeah, that side panel will end up going black. It's also going to alleviate a little bit of stress for me as well, because I've got the stencils and all the graphics kits already basically done and prepped for that side panel. So to do both side panels would be basically ideal with it. But yeah, no, thank you ever so much for watching. Obviously, understand I'm just a dude just like you in a garage, but the only difference is I do YouTube. But I also wanted to show that, hey, I don't always get it right, and at the same time sometimes it's worth trying something, or even just trying to explain a few things. And I hope that you took away some of the design features, and now when you look at other dirt bikes you'll be like, I see exactly what they've done there, and that to me is a win. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and if you can, just subscribe if you're new anyway. If just subscribe, help me out just to keep growing, and then yeah, it'll be a bonus. But yeah, until next time, you're gonna have to ride it out.